everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book recommendation video. Hey you guys, so welcome back, and I am back again, and I have just two books. One standalone and one duet that I want to recommend to you, and this falls into the Menage category. I have done a complete deep dive into the Menages, and if you guys remember and you watched my November TBR or a video that I put out, I don't know, before then, I had said that I had my TBR of top Menages that I wanted to get into, and so I have been diving into those, and they have been delivering on so many levels. Okay, so let me say this first before I dive in. And the very thing happened that I was a little bit worried about, because I'm having a spectacular reading month. Fabulous. Every book is better than the last. But the problem is that when you've got your best, right, like something has to fall as your not best of the best category, if that makes sense. And so that's what happened in this instance. I feel like if I read this book, which is Breaking Perfect by Lydia Michaels, by itself, and didn't read any of the other Menages, this would have been a fabulous read. However, because I read this and then I read another book, I was like, well, that one wasn't really good. But that's not the case. Oh, that didn't quite work. That's not the case. This book is fantastic. It is phenomenal. It is really, really a 5-star read. It is really great. It's about Dr. and Mrs. Mason Davis, if you will, or her name is Liberty, his name is Mason, and they are a wonderful, wonderful couple. It starts off with them, it starts off with a intense masturbation scene, and she is masturbating and she is fantasizing about her husband. And what you soon learn is that Liberty has a very regimented and predictable life. Everything has to be very regimented. She has a timing for everything. She has a number, like when she prepares his lunch, the lunch has to be prepared in a certain way. Like everything is regimented, and it's very clear that she has OCD. And we learn that her OCD stems from a very traumatic past. She was abused as a child, okay? And Mason, she meets as he is a doctor, a physician in a hospital, and during one of these tragic situations that happens in her life, she meets Mason, and because her mother assaults her in the hospital, and she runs off crying, and Mason is like drawn to her immediately, and he's like, I have to make sure she's okay. So he goes and finds her and comforts her, and from the moment that he starts to comfort her, this girl has crawled under his skin, and he's like, I need to be there for her. And they develop this life, but the life that they develop becomes very humdrum. It becomes very predictable, and it works for them, and it worked in the beginning because that's exactly what Liberty needed. And so it's almost like as she's getting healthier, Mason has more and more difficulty letting go of this predictable, controlled life that they have. Like he comes home at exactly the right time, and when he gets home exactly at 6 o'clock, when he walks in the door, she's like pristine and perfect and standing there and waiting, and you know, it's almost like a Stepford situation. So it's kind of crazy, right? And in comes a situation where Mason has a friend from the past, and the guy's name from his past is Sean. And Sean comes in from the past, and it very quickly becomes apparent that Sean, and this is all, you can read this on the back jacket, Sean is Mason's ex-boyfriend. And so now Sean is in the picture. Liberty is like, he's here, he's visiting, what do? I don't know. When he actually shows up at the doorstep, she's like, well, Mason's not here, and she doesn't know if she should let him in because she needs to be told what to do under all circumstances, always. And so she has to call Mason. Mason doesn't answer, so she's like, well, this is his really good friend, and if I don't let him in, Mason's going to be disappointed in me. And so she lets him in, and she has these regimented ideas, right? And so once Mason sees Sean and they have this conversation, she's like, an acceptable, appropriate amount of time that a guest must stay is 2 weeks. So Sean has to stay with us for 2 weeks. And Mason is like, what? And then he talks to Sean. He's like, you know what? You're going to make my wife happy. This is what has to happen. But Sean is clearly still holding this flame for Mason. And the story sort of ensues from there, but it's not the way that you anticipate that it's going to be. And it's so interesting, and it's so, like, there's so much retrospect and so much thinking that it causes you to do. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, it's a 5 out of 5 star. It is, wow, it's powerful. It packs a punch. You want to see things work out, like, and it takes it to the ninth hour, like, for sure. Like, you're all the way in, like, what's going to happen? How's this going to work out? I highly, highly recommend that you check this out, because there's a lot of emotionality that goes with this. There's a lot of emotion, and, you know, and I always say, like, in situations, right, where there's multiple people, it's Mason and Liberty's relationship, Mason and Sean's relationship, Liberty and Sean's relationship, Mason and Liberty and Sean, and what that looks like, and how all the dynamics that come into play into that. And so I just can't speak highly enough about it. This is so, so, so good. You guys, you got to check it out. It really is worth a read, for sure. If you've never checked out a Menage and you want to try it out, this is where you start. It's really good. Okay, so then the next duet that I read that overshadowed this, because this was so good. It was so good. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so book 1, it's the Dominant Bastard Duet. Book 1 is the Feral King, and book 2 is the Tragic King. And I don't even know what to tell you. Like, go off and just run and get it, and just read it. Just trust me, it is so good. Okay, so this is about Minnow and Severin. And so Severin is feral. He is just, I don't even know how to say it. He's feral. His diagnosis is not fully fleshed out. He's not on the spectrum fully, because he is able to socialize, but he socializes in a way that's just jacked up. He is isolated, on his own, doesn't know how to interact with others, doesn't know how to let other people in, can barely take care of himself. He has to have people around him to make sure that he doesn't eat spoiled food, that he doesn't, you know, not feed himself, that he changes his clothes, that he's wearing clean clothes. Like, he really is right on the edge of, like, being unable to care for himself, okay? So what we learn in the story is that he was severely abused by his parents, his mother, as a child. You find out why. Severely abused as a child. And once he starts to rebel against that and act out in a very feral, almost autistic, like ADHD, bipolar kind of way, the mother gets rid of him. And they're a very wealthy family, so they send him off to this other family who adopts him and takes care of his care. There, he has an adopted brother. He grows up. He does well in this situation. She passes away, and then somebody else comes on to take care of him. And he has to have somebody around him at all times to take care of him. And he has run outside of the 2 mothers, not the first mother, but the 2 second mothers that have cared for him extensively throughout his whole life. Everybody else he runs off. And so now they're looking for a new 24/7 caretaker, somebody who's going to be a partner who will be around him all the time, because he has to have that. Like I said, to make sure he doesn't eat spoiled food, to make sure he eats, to make sure he bathes, he does his basic living skills. But he works, he's an artist, and he does beautiful art that people want and people purchase, and it's amazing. Okay, so that starts the story where his current mother is looking for a caretaker for him, and the current mother, her name is Sutton, and Sutton interviews Minnow, and Minnow is perfect for the job, so they hire her and they pay her an astronomical amount of money to basically watch out for him. And very quickly in the story, Severin starts to do things that he requires Minnow to serve him hand and foot. She's down on her knees. He's knocking forks off the table. She's having to pick it up. She's just waiting on him hands and foot. And very quickly he learns and realizes that she is a submissive, and she's a masochistic submissive. And he is a sadist. And he is a dominant. And he has a best friend named Rodrigo, whom he goes to play parties with, and they have these circumstances and situations. You start to learn also very quickly that even though as much as much as he is dysfunctional, he's very functional with people that he trusts and with people that he cares about in his own way. And Rodrigo is one of those people. And so the situation really ensues where he starts to dominate her and she allows him to dominate her, but he is very sadistic and almost has to have, you know, a third party around to make sure he doesn't go too far, and that third party becomes Rodrigo. And the situation sort of develops and ensues, and it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. I cannot tell you how much I love to see Severin become who he is, Minnow become who he is, and Severin and Minnow's relationship become what it's supposed to be. And then in the second book, like I said, Rodrigo is part of this. And so Rodrigo is always there. And so what does that mean for the relationship? And how does that ensue? And how does it all develop? And where does it go? And oh my gosh, this just takes it to the next level. For sure, this is going to make it to my top 10 favorite series of 2021. I absolutely loved it. I read the ending of this 5 times because I just had to soak it in. My biggest complaint about this book is it ends abruptly. It just ends. And I know that it ends because the story is told and everything that we need to know in the story was told and you don't need to know anymore. But I was like, I need more. I need more. We just got a resolution. We just got to where we need to be. I need more of this. And because you don't know if it's going to work out. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to work out. And it just is, oh my gosh, I need more. I need more. I can't say enough. This is heartbreaking, beautiful, wondrous, glorious, everything. It wraps it all up in a beautiful package. And Severin, oh my God, in his beastly, feral, unkempt, untamed way, but in his sadist, like he's like, I want your tears. He goes, I thrive on your pain. I thrive on your tears. You're gonna give it to me. He licks up her tear, like he just wants it. And you were just there for every moment. Like, how would I respond? What would I do? What would this be like for me? It is just, I can't even speak highly enough about this series. I have never heard of Sparrow Beckett. I've never read anything from her, and she seems like she writes in a duet. It's Sparrow Beckett and someone else. I can't remember the other author's name, but go and check it out. And I'm telling you, it is so good. It is really, really good. I can't speak highly enough of it. So you guys, that is 2 different series that I am recommending that I'm saying like they are like 5 out of 5 stars. They're amazing. I think that you're gonna love them. You're gonna thank me. Come back and let me know if you checked them out and what you thought of them. And I hope that you really enjoy reading them. So you guys, you know, I upload new videos 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, ideally. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And that's all I got for today. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!